The R35 Nissan GT-R is now officially an old car, but tell me it doesn't still have presence. Power is now up to 565 horsepower thanks to revised ignition timing and increased boost pressure. Outside there are lots of small aero tweaks that reduce lift and, I reckon, attractiveness. Inside there are many changes that help to negate the ageing process, but the GT-R now feels old next to the latest German rivals. But never underestimate these things, they have a habit of always surprising you. This one is also very bronze, and I quite like that.
Have you ever tried driving a Nissan GT-R slowly on the public highway? It's really difficult because I don't know many cars that egg you on quite like Godzilla. It just wants to go fast the whole time. This car is now nearly 8 years old. The increases for 2017 model year are not that significant. There's a bit more power and I think 1 foot-pound more torque. It looks a bit different and it's all a bit more effective and nicer looking inside. But the big news is that they've softened the car off a bit. So now the standard suspension mode is really quite supple and they've made the car much quieter inside. Us geeks call it NVH, that's noise, vibration and harshness. And frankly, whereas the old GT-R for me was a pain in the neck, a car I didn't want to live with over long journeys, this one is now really comfortable. That's right, it's a slightly soft GT-R and I like that because I'm a bit of a softie myself. It's all well and good driving the GT-R up on these beautiful open Roman roads, but really we need to take it to a circuit and skid it about. For me, the GT-R has always been something of an enigma because people go on about it, straight line performance, that's why it's famous, isn't it? Take one, chip it up, give it 1,000 horsepower and watch it do 0 to 100 in about 4.5 seconds. That is quite some party trick, and it was the first of the modern generation of dual clutch transmission, twin turbocharged super sports cars. This thing was munching 911 turbos back in 2007, 2008. Can you believe that? It's nearly 9 years since I first drove one of these amazing cars. Well, this one's now got 565 horsepower and a bit more torque, and it's had some aero tweaks, and I think they've done something really great with the ride comfort, as I said, on the road. It's now more usable and the NVH is better, so it's not battering your ears. But on a circuit, the enigmatic quality for me is that the chassis is so interesting. This is a four-wheel drive vehicle that's so clever. It's trying to juggle torque to make you go fast, and therefore it's throwing it forwards and backwards and at times fighting the driver. And I've always found it so enjoyable going into battle with the GT-R. We're at Landau today, it's nice and slippery, and instinctively I find myself being a wally. I don't care about lap times. What I care about is trying to put the thing into silly angles and seeing how it wants to respond, where it wants to throw torque, and what I can do to work with it and sometimes work against it. And the whole philosophy of the GT-R is so completely crazy. I once sat through a lecture given by Mizuno-san, the father of this vehicle, who, well, he's an enigma himself. Fairly bonkers chap who had some fairly crazy ideas about vehicle dynamics, attributes, and what mattered. For example, he wanted mass. The fact this thing weighs about as much as the moon is no accident. He felt that mass gave him traction because it helped drive the tyres into the road surface. And the one thing this car is not lacking is traction on the road. It's amazing. And of course the differentials and the way that they've set the chassis up mean that it hides its mass very well. On circuit, it shouldn't be able to do the things it does. I mean, it weighs about as much as a 5 Series BMW. It's a huge vehicle, and yet it feels so agile because of this fast steering. But I just love jobbing about in it, I really do. So let's go to a corner and see what happens. So if we give it a bit of gas, look at that, it's just rear wheel drive almost, and then I touch the throttle, it drags it straight. Here we go, here's an example. So, big throttle, big steering, no gas, straighten up. The moment I hit the throttle pedal, it just goes, and then you get this incredible sensation of the prow rising and those sticky Dunlops pulling performance out of what is a damp surface in a way I think no other car can match. And then there's the sound. It's got this really distinctive sound from inside and outside, a sort of whooshing, wheeshing, rushing of air, like it's doing something. It's almost changing the molecular structure of the air that's coming into it, and it makes this incredible noise. It's a deeply, deeply characterful vehicle as well. At times, people have accused this of being a bit Japanese, a bit sort of anodyne and boring and lacking personality. I can't think of any car that has more personality. At idle, it clicks and clacks, and when you engage drive from stationary, it makes all sorts of weird noises, and it purrs and hisses and buzzes, and I just love it. I can't believe it's so old, actually. Of course, you can drive it in a straight fashion as well, at which point you'll just be amazed at the level of grip that it can pull. This new slightly softer suspension, I think, helps because it gives it a bit more roll, and I feel the tyre gets the chance to work over bumps better. But the braking performance is fantastic. The engine just keeps pulling. A bit angrier at the top end now than it used to be, and still making a fantastic noise. It's a really, really fast car. I mean, you can match this thing against all your latest metal, and it will still be there or thereabouts. Now, normally at this point, we take all this gubbins out, the onboard camera, we've recorded that, and then I go out and we try and slide around the corners to get the exterior shots that match what I'm saying inside the car. But the GT-R is such a challenge that I want to leave this running today, so you can see the process of trying to make it work. Because to be honest with you, I don't know what's going to happen. I could tip into the corner the first time in third gear at 70, 80 miles an hour, and it might just understeer straight on, or I might get it just right and it might just oversteer. What we want is that oversteer shot. We do a couple of straight passes, obviously, but trying to agitate the car. I don't know whether it'll try and straighten itself up too quickly. That's what I love about this. Some people find it frustrating, but I really don't know what it's going to do. And you have to kind of respond quickly. If you get the steering input wrong when it goes, then you have to phone Nissan and go, sorry. Okay, so this is the fast part of Landau. We've got 2 third, fourth gear fast corners. And this is the second one. I want to see if I can get a long linger. So I'm going to pitch it in now. No, see, it's just understeered there, and then on the exit it's giving me quite a big oversteer. So, next time round, I probably need to take some speed off, add a bit more steering angle going in, and be more brutal on that weight transfer when I back out of the throttle. Because the GT-R's four-wheel drive chassis will give you a power oversteer, and it will give you a lift-off oversteer as well. It gives you both, which is more common now, but was very rare when the car came out. Here we go. So let's go in a bit quicker, see if I can back off. There she goes. Oh, and then it straightened up, and it went again, and it went. So I want that consistent slide. I got it to go. The circuit's got a bit drier there in the last few minutes, so what I need to do is probably carry a bit more speed, and then we can get that nice consistent slide that will give you the all the way through shot that we look for when we're making these videos. Speed is your friend when it comes to sliding. The faster you go, the more you can carry it through. Here we go, let's try again. So a bit more speed. There she goes. There she goes, and power. Look at that, all the way through. That feels mental. What's that? Coming in at about 75, leaving at 90 miles an hour, and a dry track on the exit. Oh, I love my job. I feel so alive doing that. So naughty. Woo. Have a look at that. Have a look at that from the outside and see what it looks like. It'll look fantastic because there's leaves and slipperiness, and then there's dry on the exit. Oof. You don't need me jabbering. You just need to look at single slow-mo of a car. Lovely.